Welcome to Chapter 5, Lesson 6, the coordinate plane. We've seen a coordinate plane before, but now we're going to get a little more in depth than what we knew from previous lessons. A coordinate plane is formed when the x-axis and y-axis intersect at their 0 points. The axes separate the coordinate plane into 4 regions called quadrants. We can see them here. You can use the location on the plane or use the x-coordinates and y-coordinates to identify the quadrant in which a point is located. Typically, when we were working with a coordinate plane before, we worked with only this quadrant 1, where our x values were positive and our y values were positive. But now that we have our knowledge of integers, we're going to be looking at all 4 quadrants. So, when our x and our y are both positive, that's quadrant 1. When our x is negative and our y is positive, that's quadrant 2. And when our x and y are both negative, that's quadrant 3. And when our x is positive and y is negative, that's quadrant 4. You'll notice that they don't use regular numbers to label quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4, but they're actually using Roman numerals, and this is how you should use them too. And you'll also notice that our quadrants rotate in a counterclockwise direction. So it starts at quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and then quadrant 4. Let's look at example 1. Identify the ordered pair that names point C, then identify the quadrant in which it is located. Whenever I'm graphing on a coordinate plane, I always start at the origin, which is that center point, and you'll see an O that labels it. Then from there, you can move to see where your point is. If I'm looking at point C, which is here, okay, we can see that I need to go to the right of my origin. I do my x before my y, so remember you have to walk to the elevator before you can go up or down. So I'm going to move over to 1, 2, 3 spots, which takes me to 1.5, and then I'm going to move up to where my c value is and my y value, which would be 1. So the coordinate for point C is 1.5, 1, and it should be written in parentheses like this with a comma separating your x and y coordinates. Both coordinates are positive, so I know that point C is in quadrant 1 that we learned about above.